Yeah, yes, indeedy. It is Sports Overnight America, a different kind of show. We'll talk all kinds of sports that nobody else discusses, and types of sports that nobody will touch. We'll touch it right here on Sports Overnight America. You can get us on Sirius 217, XM 203, all those apps. I love TuneIn, American Forces, gals and guys, you stay healthy. Sports Byline, Sports Map, radio stations, KSHP 1400 in Las Vegas among them. And Mark Mancini will join us as the world's worst sports handicapper, and I'm sure he'll prove it over the next few minutes. Art Source, former kicker for the Rams and the Trojans, will be with us. We'll go up to Portland, Oregon, to discuss everything Portland with the fine writer Kerry Eggers. And of course, we'll play some Barron sports trivia, and we'll discover what these guys know or don't know. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sports Overnight America. I'm Fred. You can email us at sportsfred@aol.com, sportsfred@aol.com. It's cold this evening here in Southern California, but I think it's probably colder up in Portland, Oregon. We're going to discuss things with fine sports writer Kerry Eggers. And Kerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Fred. It's not too cold here. It's probably about what is it, 60 degrees where you are?
Well, in the middle of the night, it's right now about 43 or 44, something like that.
About what it is here. You know, we get nice weather up here too.
Well, but you get more rain, except in the last few weeks, we've gotten a ton of it down here. All right. Of course, Kerry's written for the Portland Tribune, the Oregonian. He's got his own website. Now, what is your website?
KerryEggers.com.
That's very easy. KerryEggers.com with 2 G's, KerryEggers.com. And in a sad note, last week, you lost your chick Hearn. You lost your most from Boston. You lost a great announcer, Bill Schonely. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, he was more than just an announcer. You're right. He was their play-by-play guy on radio, mostly radio, for the first 28 years. Was unceremoniously dumped in 1998 by owner Paul Allen. Left the organization in 2000, did PCL baseball for 3 years, then came back when Bob Whitsitt was fired and Steve Patterson brought him back as an ambassador. He served as a broadcaster emeritus and ambassador his last 19 years with the Blazers. No problem about it. The most important figure in Blazer history. Why is that? Well, he was there basically from day one until 2022 when he retired last April. So a great person, made a good impression, Fred, on everybody. I bet you met him when you were up there.
I did.
And it's a big loss for the city and for the state of Oregon.
Hey, Bill, it's Artie Source. I'm on the show with you guys as well. Didn't he have like a really reputable nickname that I'm trying to think of what it was?
He was the one who coined Rip City.
Yeah, the Twines. Yes, there you go.
The first year of the first season, Jim Barnett the Blazers were playing against the Lakers. In the second half, Jim Barnett hit a howitzer. They didn't have their three-point line then. And Schonely proclaimed Rip City, and it caught on. And now it's not just a phrase. It's Portland's nickname, basically.
Did you write a book about him, or have you written a book about him?
So we just came out with a book. It's right here. It's called Wherever You May Be Now, the Bill Schonely story. It's available on Portland on my website, KerryEggers.com only. So just go on there and hit on the homepage, hit the store tab and order it. And I got a book for you now, Fred. Sorry that I wasn't able to get it to you earlier.
That's fantastic. And I definitely, I read it from page 1 till page 200, I guarantee you. Folks, you can email us at sportsfred@aol.com, sportsfred@aol.com. Our guest, Kerry Eggers, up in Portland, Oregon. It's interesting also this week. I was going to talk to you about Lillard's not really playing well. And
then he goes for 60.
And then he goes for 60 a couple of nights ago. What's going on with Dame? Tell us, Kerry Eggers.
He's averaging 38 in the last 10. You know, he's had a couple of streaks like this, Fred, in his career. In 2019, he had one where he averaged almost 40 points. So he goes off on this roll every now and then. He's healthy now for the first time in 2 years. But I think it's a mixed blessing. When he scores that much, the rest of the team kind of stands around. And they've got two other really good scorers in Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant. And those guys need to I'd rather see him get 25 and the other guys get 20 than him get, 40 and they get 15.
Mark Mancini.
Hi, Mark, take it over. Go ahead.
You know, when you look at the Portland Trailblazers, I can't help but think about the dude driving the VW bus with the peace sign on the back, smoking the peace pipes, Bill Walton, Maurice Lucas, Dave Twardzik. And then we got into the 2000s. And that team should have won and did some damage with Sabonis and Pippen and all that. But ever since then, we really haven't seen this team take it to that level. What's the story in the great Northwest?
Well, there's 30 teams trying to do the same thing, right? And they made it to the conference finals in 2018. They've been a playoff team virtually every year, except last year when they totally tanked. So, they'd love to win a title, but I think they've been pretty respectable. This year, probably not as much as they have in previous years.
Over the years, did you get a chance to meet Jack Ramsey at all?
Oh, yeah, I knew Jack, yeah.
What did you think of Jack as a basketball man?
I knew him more when he was a broadcaster for ESPN, because I wasn't covering the team when I was doing other stuff when he was coaching. But a wonderful man, very cerebral, and he loved his days with the Blazers. That 76, 77, and 77, 78 teams were two of the best teams ever. They would have won it again the next year if Walton wouldn't have got hurt.
Kerry Eggers with us on Sports Overnight America. Let's go back to this team last year. You make the CJ McCollum deal. And I don't, he's certain guys, I play fantasy. So I play fantasy every day. I love playing CJ, and now I love playing Simons. But as you indicated, the days that Dame goes for 40, Simons isn't going to score or have that many assists or whatever the case might be. Why did they deal CJ? Was it just a question of neither guy being able to play defense, or what was the answer for that? That's
certainly a part of it, yeah. And, they felt they'd gone as far as they could go. They just decided, Joe Cronin, the new GM, decided, let's break this thing up. So they sent CJ to New Orleans. They got Josh Hart back, and they basically gave Norman Powell and Covington to the Clippers for virtually nothing. So they were trying to open up a room for Simons in the backcourt. Now, it's the same situation, Fred. They don't play good defense in the backcourt. So you've got to outscore your opponent. Nurkic has been really up and down. Actually, Drew Eubanks has played better than him at center. But Grant has been a tremendous pickup. And this guy's, I would say he's in all-star quality player. So they don't have a very good bench. They're a pretty average team this year.
So, okay, total wins at the end of the season, because we talk about the over-under all the time. Give 41, is 50%. How many wins for the Blazers?
I said 41 to start the season. I said 43 now.
Okay.
Their schedule looks pretty good the next month and a half.
So they sneak into the playoffs. It's basically
they'll sneak into the playoffs, and some, whether top 6, could be top 6, but it might be 7 to 10. I don't know.
When you look at the Pacific Division, did anybody really see Sacramento being the kind of ball club they are this year? I mean, your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, the divisions don't really matter anymore. It's just Western Conference.
Right.
Eastern Conference. They're third in the Western Conference. Did I expect them to be there? No, but I do think I did like De'Aaron Fox is an excellent player. They pick up Sabonis. They've got some talent, and I think Brown is doing a pretty good job there in Sacramento. So I fully expect them to be in the playoffs.
All right. When I was in Portland in 1985, everybody, and I mean everybody, everything was the Blazers. I mean, some people cared about Oregon State, some people cared about Oregon, but everybody cared about the Portland Trail Blazers. Is Portland big enough for another major league club in another sport, in your opinion, Kerry?
Yeah.
Baseball. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, they are the biggest market that only has one. Now, there's been a group that's tried to bring Major League Baseball in for 5 years. The riots in 2020 that were downtown during the civil disturbance, that did not help at all. They had a meeting with the Commissioner Manfred. They canceled it. So they're still chugging away trying to get that. I think Major League Baseball is the one that makes the most sense. It's not the same time as the Blazers. We have great summer weather. So, will it happen? Looks to me like Las Vegas has moved ahead of them. And I don't know, Memphis is another city that wants to have them. I don't know what's going to happen.
Are there a lot of fans that root for the Seattle Mariners in Portland as well?
Only if they play well. Last year it picked up a little bit. During that early 2000s runs, yes. But since then, not really. There's more a lot of people feel a little rivalry towards Seattle, so they're not gonna
Yeah.
Well, I think the fastest sport that's progressing in some of these major cities without having a big influence of other major clubs is going to be hockey. How about hockey in Portland? I mean, it's surfaced in Seattle now. It's surfaced in Vancouver, Phoenix. Wayne Gretzky is instrumental in bringing it out to the West Coast. Why not Portland?
Yeah, and Mario, the key on that is we got the Moda Center is built for hockey. So Paul Allen never wanted it. That's why it didn't happen. His sister Jody Allen, who's now the owner, I don't know if she wants. She probably doesn't even want to have the NBA at some time. I think she's going to sell it in the next couple of years. So I agree with you. I think it makes a lot of sense. Both of those sports would work in Portland. And yes, the fans, Fred, are thirsting for another major league franchise.
Kerry Eggers with us. You can go to kerryeggers.com, EGGERS.com, kerryeggers.com. He's got a lot of books there. He's got the latest on the Schonz, Bill Schonely. Help me out here. I can't stand looking at a game in Eugene. I hate that court beyond belief. I'm talking about the look of the court. Help me out. Will you tell somebody there to redo it, please?
Could not agree with you more. And actually, that's the only thing I don't like about Matt Knight Court Arena. It's really a nice arena. The court sucks. And I say this, and you know who designed that with the tall firs in mind, 1939 NCAA champions. But it was Tinker Hatfield from Nike. Good friend of mine. Tinker has done a lot of great things. Designing that court was not one of them.
How about the Ducks this year in the Pac-12 as we head into the weekend? What do you think?
Well, they beat Colorado last night. They've been really up and down. I don't know why they've been so up and down. They have had some injuries, but everybody has injuries. So they might be ready for a run. Dana Altman's teams generally, Fred, are better in the second half of the season.
Of course, UCLA, after the loss to SC on Thursday night, they're off a week. Then they play the Oregon Ducks and Oregon State. And, of course, they're going to be out-coached by both guys because the Bruins coach, of course, is a mook, not Mick. Any comments about – I don't know if you had a chance to watch the game on Thursday night, UCLA and SC, but the Bruins kept their starters in 30 seconds to go. They're down by 10. And Mick Cronin decided, I think, to punish the kids. Hey, you didn't play hard in the second half. You're going to have to play hard for 30 seconds. Talk about what you think about a coach down here, because I think he's one of the worst UCLA coaches in history.
I'm not close enough to really make an educated comment on it. I mean, they've had success. I don't know if they've had enough, but they should be – Arizona and UCLA should be the best teams in the Pac-12 every year in basketball, in my opinion.
Hey, listen, let's get political for a moment. I don't want Biden to run again. I want one of your Democratic senators to run. Any comments, Kerry Eggers? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Ron Wyden?
I like Ron Wyden. He's a good man. He's been there a long time. I don't know if he's a presidential candidate, but he's been a good senator for us.
You know that as like a 5 or 6 year old kid, I saw Ron Wyden not play much, mostly sit on the bench for Santa Barbara, University of California, Santa Barbara. My dad said, you want to go to a basketball game? He had some friends up there. And we drove from Culver City, California to Santa Barbara. And Wyden was on the bench. And little do I know, a mere 60 years later, he's a senator.
Gauchoville. I love it.
Yeah, and one of his good friends in high school was Bill Drozdiak. Do you remember that name? And now he's a political, he was a Far East reporter for Time Magazine and New York Times. And so those guys have both, they've had some success in other things.
What other books have you written, Kerry, before we go on tonight on Sports Overnight America? Tell the folks.
I'm writing my 10th book. So the one prior to the Schonely book was, I think it was the Jailblazers. And prior to that was the Civil War rivalry.
Reefer City.
Yeah. The Jailblazers was a pretty controversial book, but we sold a lot of books. Before that was the Civil War rivalry, which is a book about Oregon State football through the years. I think that's the best book I've done. And then lots of others, Clyde Drexler's autobiography, other stuff like that.
So
One more time.
Books on Casanova and the Great Pumpkin, D'Andros. And
they're both covered in that book. Yes.
Awesome. I'd love to get a copy of that someday.
Yeah.
Kerry, one more time. Give the folks the website.
KerryEggers.com, KerryEggers.com. Go to our homepage. There's a bookstore there. Go to the bookstore. If you want any of the books, we'll send them to you.
Kerry, stay well, stay dry, wear a raincoat. up in Portland. Thank you for appearing on Sports Overnight America.
Always glad to be, Fred. You're pretty dull. It must be kind of cold in your studio there.
Oh, it's freezing.
Yeah.
You guys
Kerry,
have a good
thank you
weekend.
very, Kerry.
Thanks,
you very
Kerry.
much.
That was awesome.
Kerry, good. Yeah.
Kerry
Let me cover
Eggers
the
on
Pirates.
Sports Overnight America. Back with more right after this. Thank you, Kerry Eggers of the Oregonian in the past and the Portland Tribune. Now you go to kerryeggers.com, kerryeggers.com. His latest book, Bill Schonely, the Schonz books. One of the fine announcers. I was up there in '85. One of the fine announcers you ever find as far as basketball is concerned. Los Angeles, of course, had the Chuck Hearn and Ralph Lawler.
Al McCoy's still doing it in Phoenix.
McCoy's an excellent announcer. You got Johnny Most in Boston. There's a whole slew of them. But for Portland, for the Northwest, I got to tell you, Schonely was a fantastic announcer. No question about that.